Hi everybody, I'm here in the nursery tunnel with our new varieties that we've brought in to the chili farm to test out. And I wanted to just show you a couple interesting things and talk about new varieties and how we test them before we release the seeds to the market. And one of the challenges you have with bringing in new varieties is that most new varieties entering the market are coming from hybrids that people are creating at home. Some are reputable growers, some are not reputable growers. There's a mix, and everybody's crossbreeding lots of different chilies and smashing them together to make new and interesting versions. Some are genuinely trying to make stable varieties to release into the market, and some are just sort of crossing things together and releasing it in the first F1 generation, which, as some of you may know, is not going to be stable at all. It takes 7 or 8 generations to create a stable variety. So this year at the farm, we've brought in something like 20 varieties, or 20, probably 22 varieties in total, to try and bring some new varieties to offer you guys. But before we buy those seeds in, we collect all our seeds ourselves here at the chili farm before we sell them. We never sell on seeds that we are buying in bulk. We always collect our own seeds and sell them to you. And we have to make sure that what we sell you are going to be true to form varieties. So they're either very stable in themselves, or we grow them under mosquito nets to make sure that there's lowest likelihood of cross pollination between plants. So this year, with all the new varieties we brought in, we have all the main seed crops growing in the tunnels, and they're also segregated. But we also grew individual plants in pots like these on the benches you see here, which are for us to look at the plant, understand the characteristics, and make sure they're what they're supposed to be before we then collect the masses of seeds outside. So for the most part, most of the plants are coming true to form, but there are some interesting and unique versions. So this one I'm standing at here, this is supposed to be what's called bubblegum 7-pot. So if you Google that, it's a really interesting plant. It's of the bubblegum family, if you like, where the ripening color of the fruit bleeds onto the calyx and then the stem, or the peduncle, as I think it's technically called. The color is supposed to bleed into that. And this one here, it's definitely not doing that. It's ripening to a nice, really interesting and unique mustard color. You can see the fruits are really gnarly. This is an unripened green one here, really gnarly and bumpy. Really big, healthy looking fruit. Attractive, but it's not a bubblegum 7-pot. So what shall we do with this variety? We definitely are not going to sort of package this up as a bubblegum 7-pot and sell you these seeds, because it's not coming true to form. So now this is either a random mutation. Perhaps some of this variety that we've brought in is not genetically stable yet, and some of the varieties are like that, because it takes, it'll take 7-8 years to create a new stable variety. So the pepper growing community wants things sooner than that, and people want to grow exciting things. So we're not saying we're not going to sell a sort of less stable varieties, but something like this is definitely not coming true to form, so we can't sell it. But it's definitely a super hot. You can see it has all the characteristics of a super hot. I'll actually pick one because it's quite interesting. I'll get one from the back. Look at that pepper. It is dangerous. It's extremely hot. It's ripening to that mustard color. I will not cut into this without wearing a gloves. What is absolutely certain, it is a super hot. It's going to be upwards of 800,000 Scoville heat units, maybe even over 1 million. We've taste tested all of them, and they're extremely hot. So they are super hot. They're classed as that, but they're not bubblegum 7-pots. We will still collect seeds from these and do something with them. So keep an eye out on our website. We may sort of release these in some form. But just to show you, things are different. This is one out of probably, as I said, 3 or 4 different versions of peppers that we've brought in, which are not coming true to form. That's the bubblegum 7-pot. On the other side here, I've got a variety called Bootler Bubblegum. Again, another one of the bubblegum sort of family. And they're ripening to what looks like some kind of Maruga type, Reaper Scorpion type chili. You can see here, it has some characteristics of a tail. but it's not bleeding. The fruit's ripening and the stem hasn't actually started to change color. And we've collected lots of other ripened versions of this one, and they're not bleeding at all. And I'd like to show you an example of one that is bleeding. If you come down here, this is one we're really excited about, and this is BBG Naga Yellow, so Bleeding Bubblegum Naga Yellow. So it's a Naga type chili, but it's got the sort of bleeding characteristics. So I'll pick one. I'm not going to pick a big one because these seeds are quite valuable. So I'll pick a nice small one here. But you can see the fruit has actually ripened, the calyx have ripened, and the peduncle has actually started to change color as well. So it has bled into the stem and everything. So this is how it should be. This is one that's true to form, but some of the others aren't. And that just goes to show why buying from reputable growers like ourselves, where we make sure we test everything before we release those seeds to the public. And as I said, some of the varieties that we will release for the next growing season will not be fully genetically stable, but they need to come true to form to some degree, as close to what they should be, before we fully release them. We don't want random variations, but we're not going to waste the ones that haven't come true to form. We're still going to use them in some form.